started making pot roast many years ago when I had a cafe. I used to serve it on a ciabatta roll with lashings of homemade tomato relish, and it sold out every single day. And I used to make kilos and kilos of it per week. But tonight we're going to have it with vegetables, and it's pretty easy to make. There's only a few key techniques you need to know, and it will transform this lump of meat into something really delicious. My name's Lee. Welcome to this video. Place a heavy based pot over a medium-low heat to warm up for a few minutes. I'm using a chuck roast, 1.5 kilo in total, but you could also use a piece of brisket or a piece of round or even a piece of rump steak. The amount of ingredients in this recipe is suitable for a piece of beef up to 2.5 kilo. Anything bigger, you would need a bigger pot and perhaps double the recipe. Season the meat well with salt and pepper. Once the pot is thoroughly heated, cover the base with a thin film of olive oil and add the meat to begin the browning process, keeping the heat to a medium-low. And whilst the meat is sizzling away, cut up the mirepoix veggies into small pieces, about 3 stalks of celery, 2 large carrots and 2 large onions. You should end up with roughly the same amount of each. You'll also need 4 big cloves of garlic minced. When the meat has been sizzling on one side, turn it over and brown the other side. This browning process should take the good part of 40 minutes, and it is key to extracting the maximum amount of flavour from the meat. Brown the meat over a lowish heat until you can brown it no longer. This piece of beef took me 45 minutes to brown in total. Remove the beef, then discard half of the fat from the pan, leaving a thin film. Add the onions, carrots and celery and cook these until the veggies have softened, about 15 minutes or so, still at a medium-low heat. The moisture from the vegetables will deglaze the pan. Once the vegetables have softened, add the garlic and 2 teaspoons of sugar. Stir and saute for only a minute or so until you can smell the garlic aroma. Then add 1 teaspoon of dried thyme leaves and 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary leaves. Add 2 cups of beef stock and 2 cups of chicken stock. Increase the heat, bring it to a boil, then add 1 whole star anise. The star anise imparts a warm aromatic sweetness that is just sensational, but you only need 1. It's a powerful spice. Return the meat to the pot, and if for some reason the liquid does not come at least halfway up the side of the meat, add some water until that level is achieved. Place the pot in a preheated oven of 150 degrees Celsius fan forced, which is 300 degrees Fahrenheit, for 3.5 hours, and turning the meat over halfway during the cooking time. After the 3.5 hours is up, your house will smell amazing. Remove the meat to a serving tray and tent with aluminium foil. And then it's time to finish that delicious sauce. Let the liquid settle for a few minutes, then using a ladle, carefully ladle out as much of the oil slick on top as you can. Alternatively, you can finish the sauce the next day and the fat will easily lift off once refrigerated. Return the pot to the stove and boil it away over a steady simmer until it is reduced by half, removing the star anise pod when you think of it. Once the liquid has reduced, add half a cup of red wine and then let it boil away for about 15 minutes or so. At this stage you can taste the seasoning, adding salt and pepper if you want. However, I didn't need to add anything. The final step, not a necessary one, but I think it presents and tastes better, is that I pour all the sauce into a strainer over a bowl and using a spoon stir and push the liquid through the sieve. You should be left with only a bit of vegetable puree, which I discard. Place the meat on a serving tray, remove any string and ladle over some of that delicious sauce. The meat will be so tender that you can cut it with a butter knife. My pot roast was finished a bit early in the afternoon and dinner was a couple of hours away, so I piled the meat back into the pot, poured over all of that beautiful sauce, and when it was time for dinner, I just gently reheated the pot roast on the stove with the lid on until it was piping hot again. We enjoyed it with buttered potatoes, cauliflower and broccoli, and it was so good that we had 2 big helpings each whilst watching a Saturday night movie. I hope you enjoy this recipe. It is a fabulous way to turn a tough bit of meat into something so very delicious. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you again soon.